What is going on, everybody? It might help if I turn my lights on right quick. Give me just a second. I forgot that I had turned them off for this hurricane. How's it going, you guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. 3 p.m. Belgium. You guys are all over the place. I got 2 p.m. in the UK. I got 3 p.m. in Belgium. Let me scroll up. I had some other ones too. How you guys doing this? What is it? I almost said this morning again. Y'all almost got me. Oh, that's going to be tough. I'm going to have to get used to that one. How we doing though? How you guys doing today? Good? Hopefully your Saturday is going good for you guys. It's only 9:15 in the morning here for me, so it's still very, very early. I've been awake a little more than an hour. Second cup of coffee. I gotta get it together. But not sure if you guys saw my video from last night. That was oof. That was tough, guys. Yikes. That was a rough one. That one hit home for me big time. So yeah. that was something else. I don't think I've gotten in my feels like that in a song. Oof, man, where it actually like brought tears to my eyes. It's been a long time. Yeah, still waking up. The sweetest pea. I feel you on that one. I am working on it. I'm working on that. Bad Wolf, good morning, good morning. So I know Bad Wolf from Bad Wolf was in another reactor stream that I follow. His name is BA. Get your bars up. Make sure you guys go check him out. Shout out to BA. Great reactions, guys. Great reactions. And he's got a huge variety. So make sure you guys go check BA out. But that's where I know Bad Wolf from. BA gave me a quick shout in his last stream, so I gotta return the favor. And it brought Bad Wolf over here, which is awesome because Bad Wolf actually got me started on Ren. So huge shout out to Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf gets the credit for that one. So another Texas in the house. Stella, good morning. What is it for you? Are you Central Time? So what is it, like 8:15 your time? Something like that? I don't know. It's too confusing, y'all. You got Central European Time. We got Eastern Standard Time. Central Standard Time. Too much. Daylight Savings Time. Oh, my God. That's coming up, what, November? Oof. Too much. And I work with people, actually, from, like, Europe and India and pretty much everywhere. My boss is from London. So you think I'd be used to these time differences, but I'm not. So anywho, I'm not going to bend y'all's ear too crazy this morning. If you haven't seen that video from yesterday, I do suggest you check it out. Cray. I'm telling y'all now, that was cray. Straight up cray. Tennessee. Yes, sir. I don't know if you're a Titans fan, but if you are, I'm sorry. I am. Every Sunday night I go to bed wanting to cry. No lie. Goodness. All right, guys, so we are here today. We're going to jump through. I wanted to go through everybody in the comment section has been telling me I need to check out the chapter series, which I guess goes through Ren's life story. From my understanding, I think I saw there were 8 chapters. So we're going to split it up. I guess we'll do like 3 chapters in each session. Yeah, and so that'll put us at 3 sessions, so 2 the last session, and then maybe we'll just kick it a little bit after, so it's about 15 minutes, looked like, give or take, for each video, so I think that'll work out good. So today we will hit up chapters 1 through 3, I think, to better understand his story, and then I'm hoping what that does, when I hear some of these other deeper songs that he's got, it gives me a little bit more context and understanding into maybe his perspective or where he's coming from. So, yeah, pretty neat stuff. I like how he does things like this. Not many artists do stuff like this, so it's pretty neat that he actually gives you some insight into his head, right? So I'm testing it out. Oh, I got the chats working. Good afternoon from Italy. And then I think, let's just keep it going. Let me see how well this works. Hey, man, I feel fancy, y'all. Oh, God. No, I don't even want to throw this one on the screen. Boo this man. Yo, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Y'all are doing a lot better than I am, so yeah. Yeah. Ain't that a shame? All right, we're going to dive in, guys. I'm getting distracted. My ADHD is going wild, homies. I got to get this screen a little bit closer to me because that little sliver that you saw, like right there, that's going to bother the shit out of me this whole stream. So, anywho, just had to get that out of the way. All right, guys, here we goes. I hope you have some tissues ready, dude. This is not the kind of stuff I want to hear because I had tissues not ready last night, and that got me into a little bit of a pickle. All right, let's go. All right, guys, let's make sure y'all can see my screen okay. It looks like you cannot, so give me just a second. Bada bing. All right, guys, you see this? Y'all are getting a little bit of a behind the scenes look of me fucking it up. There we go. Y'all see that? That was quick. All right, here we go. Oh boy. Like I said, y'all, I am nervous as shit. So hold up a second. Something ain't happening the way I want it to happen. Why is it going so small on me? All right, that's fine. We'll watch it over here.
Hello everyone. This is the first time I've done something like this before.
Let me know, guys, if it's like ridiculously loud or anything on your end, or if I'm ridiculously loud. I can simmer it down. I don't think I am. Here we go.
Story, not miss anything.
Oh, I'm a dumbass. Dude, I need to wake
who might be going through some.
All right, guys, give me a second here. My brain will work. Y'all gotta bear with me. So the live stream is what's doing this. So usually I don't have this problem with this stupid pop-out player, but I see how it's gonna go. Alright.
Hello everyone. This is the first time I've done something like this before. I wanted to write it down because there's a lot and I didn't want to miss anything. And some parts of this might be a little bit uncomfortable to listen to, but I wanted to stay as true as possible to the story, not miss anything. For the sake of people who might be going through something similar, or for the sake of people who don't but want to help understand a little bit more. Yeah. I promise that everything in this story is 100% true.
Dude,
Nothing is exaggerated for dramatic effect.
I thought it was just me. I was like, did it just get blurry as shit? All right, hold on just a second, guys. Carry on. I'm gonna try something real quick. Give me a moment. Because I also thought that it got blurry as shit. Alright. Uno momento. Dude, it's this whole video, actually. Why? Interesting. All right, we're going to do it then. Let me see if it's maybe me. Is it usually this blurry, guys? Or is it just me? if it's usually this blurry, I'm just going to roll it. But it seems like way blurrier than his other stuff. No, this is better. Okay, so hold up, guys. Tell me. We're just not going to do the mini player. So we'll do this. Alright, so let's see something here. Sorry, guys. This was not a problem last time. I want to know why it is now. Let's try this. YouTube be pissing me off, y'all. They gotta get with the program. It is 2024. 2024. Okay. Let us see if this will work. If not, I'll just show my whole damn browser because it's clear that way. Let's try this. Jesus Christ, y'all. This is redonkulous. There we go. We're getting there. And you know what's crazy is I'm going to have to do all this shit over again. Yikes. Because later when we have our stream, I'm not even going to have to do this because I don't know what the fuck's going on with my pop-out player right now. Probably need to restart my laptop, but that shit ain't happening. So, yeah. All right. Okay. And here we go. All right, that's going to have to be good enough, y'all. Gonna have to be good enough. Can you guys see it okay? Relax. I'm having a meltdown, y'all. I'm having a fucking meltdown. No, but for real. It shouldn't be this difficult. Y'all feel me?
Hello, everyone.
All right. Do we have audio? That is the bazillion-dollar question now that I fucked with all these settings.
This is the first time I've done something like this before.
Can you hear
I
me?
wanted to write it down because there's a lot and I didn't want to miss anything. And some parts of this might be a little bit uncomfortable to listen to, but I wanted to stay as true as possible to the story, not miss anything, for the sake of people who might be going through something similar, or for the sake of people who don't, but want to help understand a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do.
I promise that everything in this story is 100% true. Nothing is exaggerated for dramatic effect. Some names I don't mention and some details I don't go too far into or downplay them for the sake of the people around me. Timelines might occasionally be a little bit off, but that's just because I've had to write everything from memory from a time that was quite hazy. I asked before embarking on this journey with me that you all respect the privacy of myself and the people around me. You might be compelled to reach out to some of the people that I mentioned, cast judgment, praise them, criticize them, and I ask you kindly not to. It's my choice to be in the public eye, and it's mine alone. This is the first time my story is on the public record in a concise way. Being in the public eye is strange. The more that I give to you, the less that I get to keep for myself.
Bro.
I don't find the experience of sharing particularly enjoyable. I don't so much like the questions that follow. And I'm not a medical expert, so I don't like to be seen as somebody with all the answers, because I don't have them. And because of the empathy that...
Bro, why you gotta call me out like that? I thought I did. Jesus. Okay. Dude, I gotta figure this fucking pop-up out. It's really bothering me, actually, right now, because I don't like how clunky this shit is that I have to go to do so many clicks right now.
That I feel I'm compelled to try and help as many people as possible. But the last time I opened myself up to this on a one-on-one basis, I was surrounded by a lot of death. And there simply weren't enough hours in the day. So I ask you, if you need support, please reach out to a professional or use my music as your companion. I share my story in hopes that somebody who needs it finds it. That it provides hope, that it might ease the suffering for the people like me. I like my solitude, so I ask that anyone who respects the work I make and respects my contribution to the world to respect my solitude. A lot happened in my teenage years, and I didn't live the most normal of lives, but I'll save that story for another time. The important thing to contextualize this story is that I was full of life. I was full of a burning desire to change the world. The flaws in how we interact seemed obvious to me. I believed in people's power to change the unnecessary suffering we inflict upon ourselves. I was also enamored with music. Music is the closest thing to God that I have. It's a gateway to the unexplainable, and it's a way of communicating the inexpressible. There's just one moment that I want to share with you from the years before I got sick. I was 17.
So he wrote all this down then, I take it, yeah? So he just... almost like journaling. Did he just write down his whole life story? Is that how this went down? I would assume. Sounds like it. I mean, he's got his notebook. And that's crazy, because I bet you, like, as soon as he released this, I bet you there were so many... You know how the leeches come out, right? Like, he's got a unique story, so people want to, like, just fucking intrude your, like, I don't know, they like to intrude on you. They don't respect your privacy ever. Yikes. I do not envy the position that Ren is in at all. And this makes sense. I appreciate this, Kaz, because there's probably a lot of little details that he may or may not, he may not even want to remember some of these details. You know what I mean? Like, your brain, I think you have a self-defense mechanism where your brain tries to, like, block some of that shit out, some of the negativity or the bad experiences that you've gone through. So I wouldn't doubt if that plays part of it. So that does make sense. Yeah. This is cool, though, because it is nice that he can put his story out there, because, like, I related to that song Yesterday by Knox and him. People relate to things in so many different ways, like, and that's what I really like about Ren's music is I've been wrong so many damn times listening to his music as far as, like, how I've interpreted things or assumed things. But shit, this dude's on point with getting people to relate or connect. Faux show.
And I felt indestructible. I'm not in the years. There's just one moment that I want to share with you from the years before I got sick. I was 17 and I felt indestructible. I'm not sure why, but my whole life I had this feeling inside myself that I was meant to do something important, not for myself, not for praise, not for personal gain, but something that would change the world for the better. It's hard to describe it without coming across like an egomaniac or having some sort of God complex, but I felt like I had some sort of divine purpose. And I remember feeling this so strongly that one afternoon after school, I stood in the center of my bedroom and I spoke loud into an empty void. I said that I would single-handedly take on and defeat the forces of evil, and I welcomed them to try their best. Throughout the years, that memory stuck with me, taunting me sometimes. Flash forward to 2019. I remember the first day I knew something was wrong very well. I woke up in an unfamiliar room in Cardiff, feeling like a raven had perched itself upon my heart. Every time my heart beat, it's like some part of me was aware of the foreboding death sentence that was to come. Some sort of primal instinctive dread. Everything felt wrong, and I felt prosthetic, like I could tear my own skin off and observe though I was watching passively from another room. The night before, I'd been in Cardiff visiting friends in university. It was the end of summer, we'd gone out to a few bars. I wasn't really enjoying myself. That year I'd been struggling with social anxiety, perhaps from years of abusing my brain with a whole pick and mix and selection of party drugs. Engaging with society felt like stepping into the ring with a heavyweight champion. Every single fucking question felt like an oncoming haymaker I had to socially navigate because of my very limited toolkit of charisma at the time. I don't know why I cared about being liked so much, but the more I cared, the less equipped I became.
And I imagine that that is natural, right? Like, when you're sick so much so that you're like stuck in a house or stuck in bed, you're bedridden, I mean, your socialization skills probably plummet, right? Like, even people I know who throughout COVID lockdown were like, their socialization skills were impacted by the fact that they were not having face-to-face interaction with people for so long. So I can't imagine when you've grown up that whole way, like you're sick. What age did he get diagnosed with this? Or not diagnosed, because it went undiagnosed from my understanding, right, guys? The Lyme disease. So when did he start having symptoms? Like, when in his age? Did he mention that just now? Was it, did he say 19? Maybe I need to go backwards. And yes, I appreciate you, Sarah. Please, please, please smash that like button if you guys are enjoying this. But I'm curious, guys, when did he first notice his symptoms bad enough to realize that there's something? 18, 19. Okay, so it was 18 or 19. Thank you, Alex. And then we got 17. So he became 6 at 19, but wasn't diagnosed until 26 from Kaz. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm curious though if like before that, so he fell super sick then. Okay, that makes sense. So 18, 19, he just got super sick. And then that's when he was like, yo, shit, something's for real wrong. That makes sense. Yikes. So he's been dealing with this shit for a long time. Because if he's, 34? I think you guys said? That's shit. Oof.
Oncoming haymaker I had to socially navigate because of my very limited toolkit of charisma at the time. I don't know why I cared about being liked so much, but the more I cared, the less equipped I became to have a simple human conversation. I used to deal with this by getting fucking hammered. That night was no exception. I got smashed, lost my phone, and woke up in a strange apartment. In the bed opposite mine was a snoring rugby player and his girlfriend.
Oh, shite.
When the sawdust settles and the engine roars.
Yikes. Oof. Oh, no thank you. That would be my wake-up moment for show. Like, man, so you try and... It's that liquid courage, baby. Yikes. Oof. That's another thing I think a lot of people can relate to, especially people who are like me, who are just like socially awkward, maybe just slightly. So you get that liquid courage in you and you're just even more socially awkward. No. Fuck. Imagine getting blackout drunk and just waking up next to a dude and his girlfriend. Fucking A. That would be my moment where I'm like, I need to stop drinking. I do not know what just occurred last night. Ooh.
Everything just seemed off, and it wasn't a hangover. My first thought was I'd been spiked. I quietly gathered all my belongings and left before anyone could wake up and punch me with a conversation. I wandered around the grey Cardiff in the haze, feeling like I've just been rigged up to an IV bag full of ketamine and cyanide. And the whole world just seemed off, like I was looking at it through a tunnel. A heavy feeling of fear clung.
Is that really red? He's looking rough. If that is. Oh, yeah, I think that is, yeah? Oof. Look at his eyes, how sunken and dark they are. That's like a tall sign that you are sick as shit. And even the color of his skin, maybe it's just the way that they're recording, but he definitely doesn't look like he's feeling great. Oof.
Cardiff in the haze, feeling like I've just been rigged up to an IV bag full of ketamine and cyanide. And the
I
whole
can't
world just
imagine
seemed
that.
off, like I was looking at it through a tunnel. A heavy feeling of fear clung around me like a straitjacket.
It's not
The
him.
only comforting thought was with enough time, rest.
You look rough as shit. Whoever's in that video, if that's not him, that motherfucker's looking rough. He's still looking rough as shit. Ugh. Hold on, now y'all pique my interest. I gotta go back to the man on the bridge. I don't know where all these places are.
Up and punched me with a conversation. I wandered around a grey Cardiff in the haze, feeling like I've just been rigged up to an IV bag full of ketamine and cyanide. And the whole world just seemed...
Okay, so are you telling me right now? Yeah. Okay. Dude, everywhere looks fancy to me in the UK. Look at those fucking buildings. I know, it's not Ren. I know. I wish it was. Not really. It would have made me not look so stupid. Just kidding. Here we go.
Off, like I was looking at it through a tunnel. A heavy feeling of fear clung around me like a straitjacket. The only comforting thought was that with enough time, rest and water, it would pass. But it didn't. For 8 long years, it didn't. And this is my story of an 8-year-long nightmare. I returned back to my dad's home. He was living with his partner at the time. It wasn't my home, so I already felt uncomfortable and out of place. These unusual symptoms persisted. I figured I'd caught some sort of virus and I'd get better with time. But by the end of the week, things were a lot worse. I took myself to the doctor and he said he thought it sounded viral, that if I went home and got enough rest, it would eventually pass. And it didn't. For 8 years, it didn't. I returned for my second year of university. My brain was full of fog and my body felt poisoned. There were intermittent days where I felt like a hollow suit of skin. I'd sit in lectures unable to focus and was devoid of any sort of personality. I'd be able to have basic conversations, yeses and nos, but I was stripped of...
Keep in mind, this is before he even knows what the fuck is going on. Like, holy shit. So you're just trying to go through life every day still. And it's probably, the struggle is probably really fucking real trying to maintain. Like, dude, can you imagine? I don't like going to work when I have like a bad fucking cold. Like you feel like shit, like a bus ran you over. So it's like you got body aches and stuff. So imagine feeling the way that he felt. And still, this is why Ren is so, I don't know, man. I just have so much respect for Ren because I've said it, man. It would be so easy to wave the white flag and just say, fuck it, I give up. It'd be real easy. But he's resilient, man, and that's crazy. Crazy how resilient he is, because... yeah, I mean, shit, I wouldn't want to do nothing if I felt like ass. Like, and feeling like ass is a crazy understatement for what he went through.
of the ability to think spontaneously. It's like my body was taking up so much processing power being sick that I could not have original or spontaneous thought. The most peculiar thing about this was there was a me that was aware that this was all happening.
Is that Ren, guys?
From outside of myself, locked out, screaming silently, banging on the walls of my mind to be let in, and never successfully.
I'm just kidding.
And nonetheless, there I was.
Not that stupid.
Haunting myself. My usual routine was getting home, running a shower, and curling.
That'll be the one that actually is Ren, where I'm like, no, I'm not that fucking stupid. And then that is actually Ren this time. That would be my luck.
To be let in, and never successfully. And nonetheless, there I was, like a ghost haunting myself. My usual routine was getting home, running a shower, and curling up into a ball to cry underneath the running water, not understanding what was going on. I brought myself to the doctors numerous times during this period, requesting every blood test they'd let me have, often being dismissed and told things like stress from university can cause strange symptoms. But how come no one I knew in university could relate to this? Eventually, I was put on a 6-month-long waiting list to see a mental health specialist.
I want that greedy pig light so bad. That show looks sick right in front of me. Not even gonna lie. This is the part where he starts. This is where it like all starts for him, talking about jumping or bouncing around from doctor to a doctor to a doctor to a doctor. This is like the very beginning of that, where it's, here we go, trying to just get a plethora of tests done. Like, dude, run the fucking whole panel just to try and figure out what's going on. But sounds like it didn't work very well, which is
Who did a
unfortunate.
short one-page questionnaire and wrongly diagnosed me as hypercycling bipolar and put me on a course of citalopram. After a few weeks, it stole my ability to sleep. I was told to stick it out and it would level out, and eventually I'd feel more like myself. I stuck it out and I got worse, and I pulled myself off it after 2 weeks in a row of sleepless nights and insomnia. There's something pretty peculiar about being told you're in some sort of spectrum of madness. Even if you suspect that you're mad, your diagnosis finds a way to claw itself into your identity, even if it doesn't belong to you. Ever since I was a child, I'd always be asking what and why and how things worked. I couldn't really accept things as they were without knowing how. I carried into my adult years, and so as the bipolar hammer crashed and sentenced itself into my reality, I began searching online for behaviours associated with it, people's first-hand experiences, what it felt like to be manic. In these earlier days of my illness, the symptoms would fluctuate in severity day by day. Some days I'd be in a thick, tired fog, and other days they'd be more merciful. I began to associate the days of not suffering as mania, and would act more erratically on the days that my symptoms were less bothersome. I did things like climbing out of windows of a 6-story student accommodation, or get so drunk I'd wake up outside of the university campus lawn. But it wasn't mania. I just wasn't hurting. I spent 1 day a week with my therapist. He was teaching me
Imagine
cognitive
that.
behavioral therapy. The issue was,
Whew. Yikes. He's just taking advantage of his time that he's not wrecked. And I totally see Ren as being a super inquisitive type. Totally see that. 100%. That's probably why he's so damn good at what he does. Because he is inquisitive. And he wants to know how things work in and out. That's super dope. I don't function without knowing kind of how things work in and out. Like, I don't like feeling confused about things. Like, if I'm at work, I want to know in and out what I'm dealing with and how things work so that I can have a full grasp and understanding of things. Yikes. Yeah, that's crazy. And he's not showing his ass. He's just taking advantage of time that's almost feels borrowed probably for him. Ugh.
mentally reframing unexplainable symptoms caused a lot of cognitive dissonance for me. I was told my anxiety or depression was causing my symptoms, but in reality it was my symptoms which were making me anxious and depressed. So I was in some sort of inescapable bind. I'd devotedly work on my mental health, following every new tool for coping to the letter, only to have my symptoms get worse, which made me frustrated, raise the intensity of my treatment, only to get even more frustrated as my body seemed to deteriorate. After 6 months, I told my mum I'd happily saw off my own leg with a blunt knife if it meant my symptoms would vanish, and I meant it. I told her if I had to live with this strange feeling for 1 more year, I'd kill myself, and I meant that too. But something happened that winter which showed me firsthand the horrors and the fallout from suicide. I met Joe when I was 9 years old. I remember the first time clearly. I was standing in his living room and he turned to me and he was like, "Watch this." Then he proceeded to climb on top of his sofa and did...
Before we get too far, like, whew. Almost reminds me of like the line in Troubles where he's talking about how, like, basically carving a hole in his chest just to feel something. Like, you will do anything to get rid of the shit, like the damn symptoms that you're going through, because yikes. And again, I can't even imagine it. I just can't even imagine that. Oh, and this is so true, KV. It is so true, right? Like, so many people are going through this themselves. And it's sad, but then the great thing about it is like there's always two sides of the coin. There's the side of like sadness, the sad side of the story, and then there's the like the light at the end of the tunnel, which is hope. So there is the story of hope at the end, where it's like, it's almost you go through all this shit, but then you finally get the gold, right? The honey pot at the end, which is hope. And hope is a driver, man. Hope is such a driver. Hope can really keep you going in some dark times. It really can. It really can. Yes, and Tammy, so my wife actually has an autoimmune disease as well, and so this is why I think it's so relatable for me, because the stuff that I've gone through with like the VA and the doctors, and then the stuff that she's most recently going through, where it's like doctor, specialist, just so that it's like one door opens another door, that opens another door, that opens another door, and it's almost like this vicious cycle, and it's scary to get put on prescriptions because it's almost like, all right, well, these scripts are going to give me side effects that I'm now going to have to get put on this medication to manage, and then those side effects are going to have to be managed with another medication. It's just a black hole. And that is the sad thing about the medical industry and big pharmacy, in my opinion, not to go down a rabbit hole, but because they don't care. There are plenty of more holistic methods out there, but they don't give a shit because it doesn't make them money. But I digress. Tissues at the ready. Uh-oh. Okay. Here we go.
I met Joe when I was 9 years old. I remember the first time clearly. I was standing in his living room when he turned to me and he was like, "Watch this." Then he proceeded to climb on top of his sofa and did a front flip onto a stone living room floor. He landed on his back and lay motionless for a few seconds before grinning, getting up, and then doing it all over again. We grew up terrorizing the streets of the small village we grew up in, playing knock door run or breaking into people's gardens to play on their trampolines. We stayed friends throughout high school, going through various phases together. Joe was comedian of the group. I remember countless mornings after messy all-nighters, Joe would be cracking endless jokes like a professional stand-up routine, and we'd all be in tears laughing.
Bro, why does
This game, you're not ready for it.
When I started writing my first songs, Joe and Sega were the first people who always knew every word, and they would sing along at the top of their lungs. They gave me a lot of self-belief, and they helped me build the foundation of what I do today, and I owe them a lot for that. That Christmas, I came back home to Wales from university. On Christmas Eve, me and Joe were sat in a pub, and he turned to me, and he told me that he'd fantasized about walking into the sea until he was totally submerged. He had a pretty morbid sense of humor, so I didn't really take him as seriously as I should have. 2 days later, it's 3 a.m, and I get a phone call. It's my friend Ella. She tells me that Joe is on the bridge by my house. He was drunk, he'd called her up, and he told her he was going to jump. I was still half asleep. I fumbled, pulling on whatever clothes I could that were near, and I walked out of the front door, and the winter air stung my face, and it woke me up. Adrenaline kicked in, and I started sprinting towards the bridge. It was about a 5-minute walk, a 2.5-minute sprint. As I was running, I dialed Joe's number, and I get a busy tone, and I felt relief, because it meant he was still alive. I kept hitting redial as I ran, and as I got about halfway to the bridge, the busy tone changes. I get an automated voice note saying the number's out of service, and my heart sunk. I got to the suspension bridge that connects Anglesey to the mainland, and it usually looks very beautiful. I sprint up and down the bridge yelling Joe's name, and it's silence, and it's deafening. And I peer over the bridge into the blackness, and the bridge sits about 100 feet above the water. Hitting cold water at that height is like smashing into concrete. And the waters are notoriously dangerous because of the cross current. I hear nothing, no sounds, nothing. I run up and down the bridge about 2 times before I spot a figure at the end of it, and my heart jumps into my throat, and I run towards the figure, and it's my friend Ricky who's had the same call, and we both run around up and down the bridge and around the surrounding area looking for Joe. More of his friends eventually arrive, and there's nothing. I was about a minute too late. We spent the next week walking up and down beaches with flashlights. And when it's that dark, every other large rock starts to look like a washed up body. We plastered all the neighbouring towns in missing posters, contacting whoever we could, someone who might know something. We checked bank records to see if any money had been withdrawn since he went missing. There was CCTV footage of him walking onto the bridge, but there wasn't any of him coming off. But there were dead zones in the footage, so there was still a small chance he could be alive. I was sleeping about 3 hours a night, pretty determined that we'd still find him. For about 10 days we had nothing, and then suddenly a call comes through while we're all at my friend Miles's house having food. It's the police. A body had been found in the water by the bridge. We piled into my friend's car. I remember being in the back seat in floods of tears, repetitively punching the back of the passenger seat as we drove to the scene. As we pull up, I saw a lifeless body being zipped up into a green bag near a parked ambulance. Its skin was bloated by the seawater, and it wasn't Joe. Someone else decided to jump that day. Joe was never found. It's difficult to truly let go when you can't say goodbye. For months following, I held on to this fantasy that we'd get a call that he'd run away to some European town, and he was happy and he was healthy. But that call never came. The time during his inquest was also around the time I was struggling with the side effects of a new antidepressant. I remember sitting in the courtroom feeling like I was listening to the whole thing deep underwater. The judge felt the circumstances surrounding Joe's death didn't mean The judge felt that the circumstances surrounding Joe's death meant that the verdict was left open. It kind of stung even more to not have an official ruling of suicide. I remember going to visit his mum not long after and witnessing the aftermath of a mother grieving for her baby boy. The silence of his father, the tears of his mother. I decided that day that I'd have to wait until my illness killed me because I couldn't do it by choice. I couldn't put my family through that. Over the next 10 years, I returned to my hometown, only a handful of times following Joe's death. My last visit...
Yikes, man. I can't even imagine them... Not only him, but like any of his friends. How much guilt they must have felt. Like right after that moment. There's nothing they did. And it's such a shame, man. Oh, that would be... And as if he didn't have enough shit going on. Ugh, that's so tough. Holy cow. Yikes. Yikes. Dude, he's been through so much trauma, it's crazy to me. It's so crazy that he's so, I don't know, mentally strong. Like his mental fortitude is just off the charts, man. Good God Almighty, that was rough. And Kaz, I'm sorry to hear this, and I'm glad you've been able to forgive yourself, even though I would, most times you don't even need forgiven, right? But you have to. It's like a internal battle. So I totally get it, and I'm so happy you've been able to, let it go, forgive yourself, because that's not easy, and that's the same for Ren. Like, I guarantee he carried that for a long freaking time, man. And my mind is like picturing a freezing ass cold night and Ren just like sprinting his ass off. I can see his breath coming out while he's sprinting his ass off towards this bridge. I have no idea what this bridge looks like. I can just see it in my head. It's dark. And it's just imagining being there a minute too late and what that must feel like. My God. Sheesh.
Visit was in the summer of last year, only a handful of times following Joe's death. My last visit was in the summer of last year. I reconnected with Joe's parents and showed them a song that I'd written, simply entitled For Joe. We cried together, reminisced together, joked, and I'm proud to say that I gave Joe's mum enough money to afford a caravan she told me she'd been saving up for. That felt pretty good.
That's awesome.
We'd also do a fundraiser for the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, who were integral for searching for Joe during that time, and we raised a pretty good amount of money too. Being able to give back in whatever small way I could felt good, and it felt right for all the years Joe had made us all laugh till it hurt.
And this is why Ren is such a good dude, man. Like, he doesn't have to do any of that. Like, he doesn't have to do any of that. And he's just a good, pure-hearted dude who realizes that Joe brought them joy and happiness, and it's only the right thing to do. Oh, geez, Louise, man. Wow. I'm telling you. He's just incredible. Like, I don't know how many times I can say, like, this is why I have so much respect for Ren. I don't even need to hear his music, to be honest with you. Like, just understanding, as I start to understand more of the person, it's like I don't even need the music to realize that this is a good dude. Very good dude.
He felt good, and it felt right for all the years Joe had made us all laugh till it hurt. He was a solid person, just a little lost, as we all are sometimes. And I miss him. Life was about to take an even more unusual turn, and I was about to meet the first angel of this story. So stay tuned for that.
Is that it for chapter 1? Oh, here we go.
It's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double dutch.
Oh.
I guess there's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside the trunk, inside the pickup truck, then dumped that whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped. I think about that sometimes, vividly. What it felt like to look down and see tranquility. One sudden movement in a world of possibility. Only one movement to expose our fragility. I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as hell. I miss chilling by the pier cave and kicking back with Callum, Hugo, Justin, Sega, Stevie and the fucking lads. I miss missing that. I numb myself to close the gap. I never even call them up. Distance is my plaster cast, to tell the truth. The day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find the anger. All I find is missing you, man, I miss you.
Gosh.
With all my rhymes, I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge and then we're crying. And holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine, not the way that it worked. I was late like a jerk, there's not a day where I can find a way to break from the hurt. Your body missing, so we never got to wave to the hearse. I hope you're listening, I love you, man, I miss you, absurd, fuck.
Woo!
Another domino, it falls. across the way another's born, how you're supposed to raise a child and give it courage from a storm. In a world that is confusing, contradictions pave our flaws. Some will say we're only human, others judge us for our flaws. Some get born in sheets of satin, some get by in tattered clothes, some will die before they live. That's just how the story goes. But for those of us still with us, who reside inside our hearts, tell them proudly how you feel. And for those of us who aren't, freckled angels stand strong, freckled angels live on, freckled angels climb higher, freckled angels still inspire, freckled angels won't forget you, teach me to live my life better. 13 years and still I miss you, now my wings are missing feather, otherwise I'd come and join you. But for now I'm here on earth, stuck inside this mortal body, but for everything it's worth. Made me braver, made me wiser, made me stronger, made me true, made me face the world with courage, and that's all because of you. Freckled angels laugh the hardest, and their hearts, they are the largest. With their wings, they fly the farthest. So I know you're gonna be okay. Freckled angels live the longest, and their minds, they are the strongest. Oh, their friends, they are the fondest. So I know you're gonna be okay.
Sheesh. Oh, wow. Yikes. That was such a pretty song. And if y'all would have just said, like, go listen to 4Joe, no way it would have hit the same way as watching with this video. Oh, and hearing the background. Ay, caramba, man. I was just trying to process, let my brain digest all that. That is like heartbreaking stuff. Like, yikes. Oh, man. I really do. Oh, Ren might be becoming one of my favorite, if not my favorite artists. And I've heard not even 15 songs by him. It's not the artist. It's the human being as well. It's like, I don't know. It hits different when it's genuine. I don't know. When it's authentic and genuine, it just hits so much different. And then when you consider the fact that these are like life experiences, this shit really happened to him. And then he talks about how his selfish self was late, and that's that guilt, man. And it's like, yay. Woo. And amen, Kaz. And this is why I love this man so much, because he is a freaking fighter. I'm telling y'all, even with his latest struggles, I have zero doubt in my mind that he is going to rise from the ashes like he always does. And it's just like, I'm going to stare in the eyes of defeat and not even blink at that motherfucker. That's Ren. It really is. It really is. And I love it. And yes, Sweetest Pea, this is so true. And that was kind of like, you know, some of my point even with the song yesterday is like, you just don't know what people are going through, right? Like, everybody is, you know, going to put on a happy face when required, right? And so that's why it's so important to just not, you can't make assumptions, man. That's all I'm saying. Can't make assumptions. It's so true. So true. And yeah, this was rough. All right, I'm going to make a deal with y'all. When we come back tonight and we have this rapid fire, I'm going to come up here with like a slapping hand graphic or something. If y'all come at me with a sad song tonight, I'm playing the slapping hand graphic. I need some happy stuff tonight. It's going to be a party. A party. Not a sad party. Not the waterworks party. It's got to be a happy party. It's got to be happy. Otherwise, you're getting it. Wow, wow. Maybe I'll just record my own hand doing it. Oh, goodness. All right, we're jumping into chapter 2. Here we goes. Yikes. All right, give me a second, guys. Well, I'll bet you this is going to be freezing cold. Freezing cold coffee. Yes. $5 foot long. $5. Okie dokie. Artichokes. Do 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 do. Okay, here we goes. This. I need this. Can't all be sad. But it's real. That's the thing. Like, I'm just kidding. Like, in all honesty, it's real and raw, and that's what makes him so great. Like, it's none of it's fake, and that's what's so good about Ren. Love it. Oof. All right, here we go. Chapter 2. I want to try something real quick, guys. You guys are going to be my guinea pigs. Because I don't like all the clicking I'm having to do. Let's see here. If I go to change my browser. I fully agree with you, Sweetest Pea says, and I can't click it right now, but she says, I truly believe that sharing can help others. Ren is proof of that, and I 100% agree with you, right? Like, your past experiences can absolutely help someone because more than likely someone else has been through a similar experience. Someone somewhere, right, has been through a similar experience in their life and can probably connect and relate to it and use some of the things that you learned in that experience and apply it towards them, or kind of, understanding that the struggle's not, they're not the only one that has gone through the struggle. It is soothing to know that. It really is. For sure. Okie dokie. Okay, we're back, guys. I think. Just have to do a little bit of adjusting. Okay. Almost there, guys. I just really didn't like how I had to click so damn much in my whatchamacallit, Firefox, basically. Alrighty, guys, let me know if this is terrible quality when I blow it up. Hopefully it is not. We should be back to the way we were. Cool. Alright, guys, chapter 2, here we go. Here we go. Anyone need a potty break? Just kidding. You don't get one. If I don't get one, you don't get one. It's just the rules. Just the rules.
A year of living in a nightmarish purgatory does strange things to your psyche. I was still trying to push through university, but I found myself missing many lectures to stay in bed. I started noticing more unusual symptoms creeping in, a strange buzzing sensation in the soles of my feet. My vision started looking like fuzzy television static, something that I later learned was called visual snow, something with no known origin. My calf muscles started constantly twitching and spasming. At any moment they wouldn't go long.
Hey Sharon, how are you doing? Glad to see you were able to join. You can chat now. Awesome. Hopefully, well, actually you missed a bunch of blunders, so you really didn't miss. I don't know, I can't talk. You didn't miss too much. Other than me trying to unscrew some situations here. And Tommy, don't lie. You know you guys are going to hold me to the fire and make me hold it the whole time. I'm just kidding. I know you guys wouldn't do that to me. But that's why I am pacing myself on coffee. I don't know about y'all, but coffee has a weird way of running through me. Probably TMI, huh? Here we go.
My calf muscles started constantly twitching and spasming. At any moment, they wouldn't go longer than 20 seconds without twitching. And that can drive you a bit nuts. All these symptoms I still live with to this day. You just become very used to tolerating.
I can't imagine that, because one of the withdrawal symptoms when I was coming off all of those pain meds that I was talking about is restless leg syndrome, and holy shit, dude. Oh my God. That is the worst feeling in the world. It is like every 5-10 seconds you cannot prevent yourself from moving. There's like a buildup of fucking, I don't even know. It's this weird sensation in your extremities. It's crazy. Makes you want to clench your hands and fists. It's just craziness.
Constant discomfort becomes kind of the norm and kind of becomes like an annoying, unsettling radio static in the background of existence. I stopped taking my antidepressants after having cycled many different kinds. None of them helped. All of them gave me some new kind of symptom or side effect, like insomnia, dry mouth,
What did you call me?
palpitations, no libido, etc. I spent a lot of my time alone, but in the moments of respite I'd hang out with friends. We formed a band called Trick the Fox the year before I'd gotten sick.
So
It was the one ray of sunshine I had at the time. I quickly became friends.
this is what you guys were telling me about, I think. Trick the Fox. So we have Trick the Fox and The Big Push, right? So I think those are the two bands you guys told me about. I gotta listen to Trick the Fox. I've heard The Big Push, but I need to listen to Trick the Fox too, because I have not heard anything from them. Is there stuff out there from them? Because I would like to hear that, actually.
With a bass player called Charlie, and we developed some kind of musical telepathy where we both knew what the other was going to play before it even happened. He was the first musician I've ever felt this kind of chemistry with. I became a kind of third wheel in his Momoko's relationship. With time, Momoko became like a sister to me. To this day, it's one of my favourite people on this spinning rock. Performing with Trick the Fox was one of the rare times that I felt free. There was something about the duty of having to entertain others that let me escape the physical limitations of my own sick body, even if just for a moment. I usually pay for it the next day with what can only be described as an energy hangover where I'd be stuck in bed all day, but for me that was worth it. Those days I was still fairly functional. It was around this time I started losing faith in the medical industry. The more appointments I'd go to, adamant that something was wrong, the more of a hypochondriac they treat me as. Medical gaslighting is a real thing with chronic illness. They chalk me down as someone who was always requesting blood tests, and my mental health diagnosis probably didn't help that. Strangely, they never tested me for any kind of pathogens.
Bro, they are so judgy, too.
I decided to...
Oh my god, dude. God forbid. Okay, so funny story, y'all. This is going to be way too much information, so cover your ears if you don't want to hear it. But, so I had, how many years ago? So Christmas would be 3 years ago, I had a vasectomy, right? Well, about 6 months after that, I started having a enormous amount of pain and pressure. Not in my junk, but like in my pelvic region. And so anyway... went to the doctor, went to like 5 different fucking doctors. Finally, they were like, oh, we'll do a procedure on you, and we'll strip the nerves, and it should be good. So anyways, had this procedure done. Lo and behold, I can't feel any pain in that general location anymore, but now it's all somewhere else, because now I can feel it everywhere else that I had pain. And I have requested a bloody MRI or scan of any sort at least 4 times now. And I have been ghosted 4 times now. It's a fucking joke. It is a fucking joke. Sorry, that's my rant, but it's a fucking joke. I'm done. It is, though. Oh, God. Now I'm all hyped, because it is a joke.
Around this time I started losing faith in the medical industry. The more appointments I'd go to, adamant that something was wrong, the more of a hypochondriac they treat me as. Medical gaslighting is a real thing with chronic illness. They chalk me down as someone who was always requesting blood tests, and my mental health diagnosis probably didn't help that. Strangely, they never tested me for any kind of pathogens. I decided to embark on a precarious journey into the Russian roulette chamber of Dr. Google. I would type in the most predominant symptom of the day, and Dr. Google would tell me that I have a rare disease and I'm probably going to die. With time, I sharpened my search engine apps and refined what I was looking for.
Dr. Google is a motherfucker, dude. Man, if I could tell you how many times me and my wife have been on Dr. Google and thought we were going to have loss of limb or life. Dr. Google will give you some medical PTSD. That's what Dr. Google will do.
I dived headfirst into the abyss of online support groups, hoping to find solace or answers amongst fellow sufferers. We were like crabs in a barrel. Very rarely someone would find their silver bullet and announce what it was that cured them. Hundreds of people would follow their protocol, some with mild success, but most of us will still remain trapped. I joined as many online support groups as I could. It was a bit like the beginning of Fight Club, except instead of faking conditions to feel accepted, I was desperately hoping I had those conditions so I could cure myself and get the fuck out. I convinced myself I had conditions like candida, magnesium deficiency, parasites, adrenal fatigue, heavy metal poisoning, etc. At the time, I felt like I was single-handedly keeping Jeff Bezos in business. While most students were spending their student loan on drinks, I'd spend mine on the supplement or protocol of the week. I'd follow whatever herbal or supplement protocol was suggested, sometimes noticing mild improvement and sometimes getting a lot worse, most of the time feeling nothing. A story would pop up on one of these groups like, after I did a 30-day parasite cleanse of wormwood, cloves and garlic, all my symptoms disappeared. I'd read a story like this, get full of hope, and put myself through a grueling 30 days, which would often result in a worsening of symptoms. My body felt even sicker and weaker.
Because what are you supposed to do if you're not getting any answers from the doctors? They're not helping you out. You're basically having to tell them how to doctor and like, hey, can you order these blood tests? Hey, can you order this blood test? Hey. You're like literally trying to tell them how to do their job because they won't just do their job. It's pretty wild. So now you're desperate and just looking for any kind of answer. So you see these crazy ass things like, drink this mushroom tea 4 times a day and then crush up these leaves and snort them 8 times a day. Like, it's just crazy, some of the shit you see out there. And you're just desperate for answers and to try anything that could get you relief. And lo and behold, it leaves you feeling worse. Or the medications, let's say the doctors actually do put you on medication. Like I said, it's like, okay, well, that opens the door to these side effects. And then I need a medication for those side effects. And it's just crazy. It's a crazy, crazy cycle to be in. Faux show. And yeah. So, oof. Yay. And shout out, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining. I saw your chat. I did miss it. It scrolled too fast for me, but I did see you dropped in, so hello and thank you for joining. We are only in chapter 2. This one's not as sad to me so far. Don't tell me to get the tissues ready, y'all. But this one gets me fired up because it's just a joke. The medical industry is a joke. Sometimes. I won't say all the time, but at least in my experience, the majority.
But I'd stick it out because I was told that this was a good sign. The parasites are dying. I peered into the toilet bowl and valiantly waved goodbye as I flushed their imaginary corpses into a watery abyss. At the end of the 30 days, I'd be left with a lighter wallet and all my symptoms still remaining. And if that didn't work, I'd move on to what was next. Maybe I have seasonal affective disorder. Alright, so I'd get on the internet, order a light, stare at it for 10 minutes a day, and to my big fucking surprise, still have all my symptoms. The only thing that light illuminated for me was that I was desperate enough to buy a glorified table lamp.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I really, truly appreciate this. I am actually pumped to be learning his story. Like, I should be thanking you guys because this is awesome. And I'm telling y'all, thank Bad Wolf. Thank Bad Wolf. Thank Bad Wolf, because I may not be here. If not, I might not be here. So credit goes to Bad Wolf. I'm so happy to be here. I don't know. I always, like I said, I feel like it's been an honor to learn about Ren and just his resiliency. And yeah, the amount of respect that I've gained for this man is just crazy. And you are not lying, Bent, right? You are not lying. So medical trauma is absolutely real. So is medical anxiety, right? Like people sometimes wonder, like, I never have high blood pressure, but every time I go to the doctor and they take my blood pressure, it's through the roof. Well, some people's blood pressure does get elevated when they go into the doctor's office because there is something literally as clinical anxiety. It's for real. It's a real thing. Oh, goodness gracious. Yikes. Yeah. This episode, or this chapter, I should say, has fired me up so far because Yeah, it can be a joke.
That light illuminated for me was that I was desperate enough to buy a glorified table lamp.
Perfect.
Check this out.
And this is perfect timing, because now I can shut this the hell up, because nobody cares. Oh, maybe I do need some of this. Do a little twist. I don't know. No, this is perfect, because keep spreading the word, Bad Wolf. Keep spreading the word, because this man needs to be heard. His message is real, and it's important. Even the song from yesterday that Knox and him dropped, it's important. It's like the biggest fucking issue we've got going on in the United States, at least. It needs to be heard. And it's a shame that we have platforms like YouTube that are censoring those messages, because it doesn't benefit Big Pharmacy. So, like I said, I could go on a crazy tangent, Big Pharmacy, but I'll spare you guys. Bro, both of these guys, I wish I didn't have to watch this whole ad, but since I do, they got some nice twists going on. This is how they get people. And wait, what just happened? What's that happening? How many ads do we have to watch? Oh, this isn't an ad. I thought this was an ad, y'all. No, Ren is just fucking creative. That's what this is. Gosh.
Enough to buy a glorified table lamp. I kid you not when I say that over the years I probably have taken nearly every dietary health supplement known to man. One of the most grueling self-treatment courses came when I did a round-the-clock heavy metal chelation. I would take a supplement called ALA and DMSA, which supposedly shuttle mercury molecules out of your body through a process called chelation. I would have to take the pill once every 3 hours around the clock, which meant setting multiple alarm clocks to wake up and take them. The supplements came with their own side effects. I remember one time standing in a supermarket and feeling like the...
Did he just say MDSA?
dietary health supplement known to man. One of the most grueling self-treatment courses came when I did a round-the-clock heavy metal chelation. I would take a supplement called ALA and DMSA, which supposedly shuttle mercury molecules out of your body through a process called chelation. I would have to take the pill once every...
Bro, acronyms are never a good thing. Never.
3 hours around the clock, which meant setting multiple alarm clocks to wake up and take them. The supplements came with their own side effects. I remember one time standing in a supermarket and feeling like the sounds and lights were so bright that I couldn't even bear to be in there. I stuck with this protocol for a whole year with no luck.
Yeah, so ambience, you kind of hit the nail on the head here, for me at least, is... Like, I have nothing against doctors, right? Like, there are great doctors out there, and there are shitty doctors out there. There are great chefs out there, and there are shitty chefs out there. There's people who are great at being waitresses and people who are terrible. But it's the fact that you become the guinea pig. That's where I think we have a problem, because it's like, if they are uncertain or they don't know, I understand that they are following like treatment plans and certain things like that, but they also, in my opinion, just my opinion, need to do a better job of considering what that means for the patient. Like, because in my experience, like, they're not going to experience the side effects of, let's say Wellbutrin, right? An antidepressant that can turn some people into raging maniacs. It's just a fact. But they don't have to experience it. Their family does. That person's family does. I just think they got to do a better job of making sure that they don't throw people into that experimental loop, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, because that's the biggest problem in my opinion. Again, I could go forever on this, guys.
I was still coming to terms with the death of one of my best friends during this time too. I was too sick to hold down any kind of stable job, so I was mostly living off my student loan. Welsh students study in England also weirdly get given a small sum of money just for being Welsh.
And that's the beauty of it, Sandra, I think. Like, because I was unfortunately one of those ragey maniacs. Like, it turned me into a super short-fused ragehead, and that was not fun for anybody. And I was like, dude, this shit is just not working for me. And then that's when they have to start playing with combinations and weaning you off of one and working you on to another, and you got to go through the whole 2-3 weeks of it, your body metabolizing it and all of that fun stuff. So yes, and then Bob, you are absolutely right. Throw on the game of the insurance companies, and that's a whole nother thing. Yikes. Because you're at their mercy sometimes. You are really at their mercy sometimes. Yeah. It's just wild to me when I think about it, and how crazy the system can be. The medical system, I should say. Yeah. And Sharon, thank you. So I assume that you are teaching in the medical field in some form. So thank you. Because it is important that we are not raising these kids, right? But like training these people and teaching these people how to be good doctors, right? Like, yeah, we can't just have all these inexperienced people who just know how to look things up in a online catalog of things, like looking things up by symptom and yada yada yada. I feel like knowledge is power and experience is power, so on and so forth. But anywho, and you're absolutely right, Kelly. I absolutely agree with you. So for sure. Yeah. When my wife was working, she was a health information manager, and so she would have to work with the insurance companies a lot, and it's true. There's a lot of scam artists that are trying to scam insurance companies too. It's why it's such a broken system. There's just so much shady shit that goes on full circle that it's wild. Wild. And then the government, you throw in the government aspect of it, and sheesh.
Almost like we're really sorry that you're Welsh sort of condolence prize. I've always prided myself on my financial independence, so whenever I could, I'd get out on the streets of Bath and I'd busk. I remember the very first time I did. I had my guitar in hand, I perched myself on a bench, took a deep breath, and then bared my soul to the jury of the street, and it was exhilarating. People sometimes ask me what music means to me. It means life. This was usually the one time I felt like I didn't want to die. This was the one time I could feel a resemblance of something that resembled spirit, that resembled my soul, that resembled me. I even found myself cracking jokes with onlookers, which for someone dripping with social anxiety at the time was huge for me. It was March, roughly 3 months after Joe had died, and I was sitting on a bench in Bath with my guitar singing into a busy street. And this is when I would meet the first angel of this story. I'd see 2 more angels years later, one in the guise of a homeless man, one a doctor cheating death in the Beverly Hills clinic, but that bit will come a little bit later.
I'm just gonna guess. Y'all told me in the comments when I reacted to Crutch. BB's in this story. Maybe?
The angel was walking on the opposite side of the street with a mother. They both stopped to watch me for a moment. I saw her mum whisper something to her. The angel turned bright red and she giggled, and they shyly approached. We got talking, and the angel asked where I was from. I told her that I grew up in Wales in a small village that was once described in a local newspaper as being worse than an Iraqi war scene. I told them they would have never heard of it. They looked surprised and they said they had family there. I asked which part, and it turned out to be the village that I grew up in. Since you can basically count a population of 2 intergenerationally bred mutated hands, I asked who they were, and it turned out that angel happened to be Joe's cousin. This encounter was always a foundational moment of serendipity in my life. In the years that followed, I took serendipitous occasions to mean I was in line with my purpose. Sometimes I felt like I'm following a script. It's just that I don't know the words or actions until they actually happen. But in moments of serendipity, I feel like they are playing out exactly as they were meant to.
That makes sense.
Amazon AI rocks. This new way to make money.
Bro, I might have to think about YouTube Premium. This is how they get you. Yo. They can't win. I cannot let them win. Even though it annoys the shit out of me. But this makes sense, Kelly. So he doesn't give names, but this one is not BB. Okay. Got it. Does he ever mention BB by name in this? Or in any of these, or no? Yeah. Hey, I'm about it. This is crazy. It annoys the living shit out of me, man. And then it's not even the commercials that annoy me. It's the fact that they're like 50 times louder than the video. And they do it with, I have YouTube TV too, and they do that shit with the TV too. The commercials on TV are like, oh, I think it even says something like, you can skip the commercial and go to some what's supposed to be soothing screen, except it's like jungle noises that are loud as fuck, so it's like you're in the middle of a Tarzan movie. Yo. I know, they always pick like the 2-minute ones that you can't skip. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do it because it drives me insane, especially when I'm in the middle of like a stream or in the middle of a reaction. Like if I'm doing a twofer or a threefer is even worse. And then every time the commercial's done, it closes my damn player. Oh, and in case you guys wanted to know, there was a follow-up commercial. Yay.
This angel. It was quite a bizarre moment for me, that hundreds of miles away by chance this angel would be related to my lost friend. Upon learning who I was, they invited me back to theirs for a cup of tea, and I accepted and I fell in love. It was really good tea. That week, the angel took me to a favourite botanical garden and she pointed out a favourite flower. So that night, true story, I dressed in black, broke in by climbing over the fence, dug up the flower and presented it to her the next day. She called me insane, but it's safe to say that angel ended up being my first serious girlfriend. It was a weird kind of relationship.
Again, guys, remember how I said he's like so pure-hearted? This is just another example of that, right? Like, chivalry's not dead. It's not dead. I guarantee Ren is the type that opens the car door for his lady, as he should be. As he should be. It's wild, some of the crazy-ass looks I get when I, like, hold the door open for someone. They're looking at me like I'm fucking weird. It's like, bruh, what has happened to the world? Oh, my God.
We both shared an unusual trauma for people who were so young, brought together by a tragedy. Even though sometimes I feel like she might have hated me at the time, I was convinced like it was some sort of Shakespearean fate that had brought us together. A morbidity that birthed light, that it couldn't be anything else. It felt like divine intervention. She was pretty troubled in her own way, and I was very troubled in mine. But in between the sludge of dealing with the constant symptoms, it was beautiful. That summer, her parents took us to Centre Parks, which is a posher version of Butlins, if you don't know, where they paid for all the activities and meals, and they let me do whatever I wanted. Coming from a poorer family, I wasn't really used to being spoiled to that degree, but I figured I'd just...
Okay, guys, what is a... Yeah, these are probably just, like, Londonese terms. I don't know if that's even correct. But, so, like, for example, my boss says hose pipe instead of garden hose. What is a... Butlin, I think is what he said, Butlin. So a posher is like an upscale, I think, right? Like upscale, but what is a Butlin? I don't know what that term means. I think it was Butlin. Yeah, Butlin. Butlin's is a holiday park. Aha. Okay. So Butlins is a holiday park over here in UK. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. I did not know.
Version of Butlins, if you don't know, where they paid for all the activities and meals and they let me do whatever I wanted. Coming from a poorer family, I wasn't really used to being spoiled to that degree, but I figured I'd just roll with it. One morning while I was there, I got a call from my friend Sega, and he sounded pretty mixed up.
Yeah, from my understanding, Kelly, it's kind of like, because there's something in Germany called Holiday Park, and it's like an amusement park. It's their version of like Universal Studios or something like that.
Asked him what was wrong. He told me that there was no easy way to say it, but one of my other best friends, Callum, had died. He'd gone cliff jumping in the same cliffs we used to jump off as kids. The sea was particularly choppy that day, and he caught a cross current and he started to drown. Another guy that he was with had jumped in an attempt to save him, and they both drowned. The first day I met Callum, I was 11. He was in a year above me in high school and used to walk around with these massive baggy bright orange jeans. He hung around with all the goth kids and I thought they looked super cool. So the next day I painted my nails black and fashioned a necklace out of a severed extension cable from an old VCR machine. I infiltrated the group and I gained their trust. Yeah. Not long after, me and Callum were friends, wandering around beautiful Welsh countryside looking for the most scenic places to smoke weed. We stayed friends throughout high school and I truly loved him. When Callum died, I couldn't properly grieve. I felt weirdly numb after losing Joe. I'd often feel guilty for my inability to cry at the time. A couple of years later, I'd learned another friend of mine that I used to play function gigs with had thrown himself off a cliff facing Dover. And again, I felt numb. I couldn't tell if this new acceptance of the inevitability of death was a beautifully liberating thing, or if it was a sign that my humanity was slipping away. To this day, death has kind of remained a bit of a matter-of-fact part of my life. During my years of sickness, I had to crawl through a morbid longing to be killed by my illness to find a more peaceful acceptance that death is just an inevitable consequence of life and it doesn't spare anyone. That never left, and I haven't ever really been scared of dying since. Some days I've tempted it. What I'm more scared of is having to live my whole life as a sick person. In my relationship with death, the most healing moment occurred just 2 years ago. My grandmother, who I loved to pieces, was dying. But I actually got the chance to say goodbye this time, to hold her hand, to thank her for being alive. I remember not long before she passed, she was lying in the hospital bed, and she was very weak and very pale, barely able to open her eyes. I asked how she was, and it seemed like a stupid question as soon as it left my mouth. She paused for a long moment, and she turned her head to look at me, and she opened her eyes, and she smiled, and she said she felt happy. And it was just one word, happy, which was simple, and it was beautifully profound. And that was one time I'd gotten a chance to say goodbye. And it was the first time that I hoped that one day I would die happy. The following year, I would achieve something beyond my wildest dreams, and then I would lose it almost as soon as it came. Stay tuned for that.
I don't want to hear no words today, because they pull me under. In the castle of my room, I'll hide away. Ooh. From the outside thunder, gonna lock my troubles outside of this door, 'cause today it's just me and these four walls.
In 3, 2, 1.
I'm just a stunt guy.
Not today, you're not.
I had to do something.
Bro, YouTube is about to catch these motherfucking hands. Like, for real. Ugh. God dang. What the hell? Oh, that's a long name. Can I call you Pixie? Please? But hello. Thank you for jumping in here. We are wrapping up chapter 2. It will be... yeah, I think we're about to jump in. This is when they were young, man. How old was he in this? He is young. Very young. All right, here we go. We got Trick the Fox with Runaway on this one. If I get another ad, yo, I'm gonna be mad.
No words today, because that pull me under. In the castle of my room, I'll hide away from the outside thunder. Gonna lock my troubles outside of this door, 'cause today it's just me in these four walls. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. Say oh. Said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. The light that I hold, it turns to gray, and that makes me wonder, will I always feel this way? So far under, but I put my soul on show for everyone to see. 'Cause even though it's bruised, I know it holds such beauty. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. Say oh. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place.
Dude,
Nobody here.
you know what's crazy is these dudes do not. It's crazy. It doesn't matter what band, Big Push. It doesn't matter. Like, usually when you have bands that are just like recording in a small studio and they're just a bunch of buddies, it sounds like amateur music, right? Like, their stuff never sounds like it is done by any type of amateurs. Like, I don't know. I think Ren is like the golden touch or something, because everything that he is on, like even with the song Yesterday, the track Yesterday, I don't know that I would listen to it if I hadn't had seen Ren's name, to be honest with you, right? And maybe that's wrong of me, but it's like everything that Ren touches is mother truckin' gold. It's like mind-boggling.
Wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. Say oh. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. Nobody here but me today, but that makes me stronger. 'Cause I wash away the pain under sheets of feather. Gonna lock my cup.
I've been looking for a long-lost sister. I'm just saying. You kind of read my mind. I've been looking, like, for a long time for a long-lost sister. You definitely read my mind. Definitely read my mind. Let's fill out the paperwork. Let's make that happen. I need to get adopted.
Outside of this door, 'cause today it's just me and these four walls. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. Say oh. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. Say oh. I said I wanna run away, fly
So
to
good.
another place, fly to another place. Say oh. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. I crave relief in solitude. I search for peace, but pain pursues. Please, something just free me. Give me
Okay.
some truth. My head is a prison. I need to move.
Woo.
I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. Say oh. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. Say oh. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. I said I wanna run, I said I wanna run, I said I wanna run. Hey oh. I said I wanna run, I said I wanna run, I said I wanna run.
get some kind of like, woo, woo, woo. I don't know, something. I don't know. Something. I appreciate this. Am I saying this right? Sonora. Sonora. I feel like such a white boy. Sonora. Oh, thank you so much. Yo, when we come back tonight, no more fucking commercials. No more. We are doing it. Oh, y'all rock, man. Fuck out of here with them commercials. Ain't nobody got time for Mucinex and all this other bullshit. Yo, y'all are clutch. Clutch. Woo woo. Clutch. I just have to do the sound effects right now. Yo.
I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. I said I wanna run away.
God, it's so good. I could jam to this.
I said I wanna run away, fly to another place, fly to another place. I said I wanna run, I said I wanna run, I said I wanna run.
When he hits that bass, that pedal bass, I'm probably screaming. Sonora. Bro, if I'm still saying that wrong, Sonora. Why am I struggling with that so much? What? Sonora. Yeah? I feel like I'm close. Sonora. What? Yo, why am I having so much trouble? Dude, that was fuego. I could jam to that, man, like workout song. Yikes. That was good. Good. I could legit rock out. Like the desert in Arizona. Bro, I am so bad at geography. Yo, that was the worst example y'all can give me. My wife was in here. She would be laughing so hard. Oh, man. I can't help but laugh because I'm so shitty at geography. She'll be like, do you know where Anchorage is? Yeah, that's in Hawaii. Yo. Okay. Here we go. We got chapter 3 now. We're closing it out with chapter 3, guys, and then we'll be back with... Bro, now y'all really got me considering... No, I won't do it while I'm streaming. Yeah, I was tempted to go do the premium right this second. I will do it as soon as we get off of here. And then tonight, we will not have any interruptions. Thank the Lord Almighty. Because that's annoying. When you're 85 years old. See, here we go. I know it's not really in Hawaii. That's the one I might actually know. But I am so bad at geography, I'm not even playing with y'all. She would literally be dying right now because she would have probably been like, yeah, good luck getting him to figure that one out. Oh, boy. Y'all are going to have to... I'm going to have to get a globe in here or something. Just going to start spinning it around and figure out where everything is. That's not going to help me with pronunciation, though. I'm going to have to ask Siri. Oh, I think this is the right one. This is chapter 3? Yes. Tonight, Sharon. So tonight we will be back 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We are going to kick it off, and it's just going to be... I think I'm going to do... So to kick it off, so what we'll do to kick it off, we'll do Paint It Black. I think I want to watch that from the Red Suspender Brigade. I want to see that last one. And then y'all are going to take the lead. Y'all just drop the songs. We'll just go down whatever path that takes us down. So should be a good time. We'll probably do it for a couple hours. Because after 10 p.m., I'll get yelled at for keeping my kids awake. So we got 2 hours. 2 hours to party, y'all. I'm a grown up. But yes. Kaz, it is late. I know some of y'all, it is late. That's true. It's like midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. for you guys. So maybe we'll have to work something out after this week. We'll figure something out that maybe works better on the weekends for everyone. It'll be like a middle of the day party, maybe. Something like that. Kelly, concert. Who you going to see? I am curious now. Who are we seeing tonight? I want to go to a concert. Man, I haven't been to a concert in a long time. I love concerts too. Oh no. Oh no. That's not what I like to hear, Bob. I hope you feel better soon. Hope you feel better soon. That is no fun. I don't know how. Knock on wood. I have not gotten it. Again, knock on wood. Like 4 or 5 times. But, highly suspect. Okay. 8th time. Hey, 8th time's a charm. This is going to be your best time. Just got to keep a positive mindset. The 8th time is the best time. And then when you go for a 9th time, that's going to be the best time. Yeah, concerts are dope, y'all. Dope. I love them. Some people complain about the noise, and I'm like, dude, if I can't feel the bass making it feel like it's going to make my heart explode out of my chest, I don't want it. All right, guys, we're going to kick off chapter 3. And then I've got to go mow my grass.
Scowling at my weekly anxiety and my therapist was scowling at my weekly anxiety and depression scores like a detective trying to crack a particularly stubborn case. There were no signs of improvement, and the scores followed no real measurable pattern that were consistent with bipolar. After nearly 2 years of talk therapy and taking enough medications to fill a pharmacy, he sat down with me and he dropped the bombshell that he didn't think that I had bipolar. In fact, he said that he didn't think that I had depression at all. And it was a very odd thing to be stripped of an identity in an instant. The reality was that a 20-minute in and out consultation 2 years ago led to 2 years of swallowing pills that I never needed and devoting so much of my time to managing the condition that I never actually had. The emotions inside...
Bro. He's gonna get me going again. Again. Never mind. I'm not even gonna get it going again. Y'all, like, doctors, man. Sometimes. They're not all bad. But sometimes. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. War pigs? I'm telling y'all. Somebody would have been leaving with some bruises somewhere, if not a bloody nose, because I'd have been like... And people are like, why do you... I saw a comment, and it was, why do you turn violent at a rock concert, or like rock music? Bro, the mosh was born for this reason. You have adrenaline flowing through your veins, and you need it to just like, yeah. Let it flow freely. Get it out. Get it out of your system. Chapter 4 is the hardest. Tommy, that's what you said. Tommy, I got you. Chapter 4, that's the first one then. In the next sesh. So at least we'll be getting the first one, I guess, out of the way. The hardest one.
Me swirled around like a mismatched suit. On one hand, I was full of anger and I was bitter about the whole situation. But I was also hopeful that this new path could offer me the relief that I desperately needed. He told me he was going to refer me to an ME clinic in Bath. I'd never heard of it before, but instinctively true to character, I started researching it online as soon as I got home. Apparently, ME is the medical equivalent of a choose-your-own-adventure book, with tiredness as the only consistent plotline. There were no universally accepted reasons as to why the fuck it existed in the first place. It seemed it was largely accepted to be a post-viral condition, but that was all speculative because there were no clear consensus in the medical community what ME even was. The defining characteristic was a tiredness that wouldn't go away with rest. I could relate to this. In fact, I could more than relate to it.
It amazes me that it's 2024 and people are still wearing in-the-ear earbuds. So you can get rid of these and get rid of these because Lenovo XP2s are taking over. Let me show you why. First off, the XP2s have a touchscreen case that's going to give you full control of your music experience directly at your fingertips. But we'll get into that later. Second, the XP2s are over-the-ear earbuds, so it's going to eliminate that pain and discomfort you get.
I'm trying so hard.
Like this for a long period of time. Take these, get rid of them. Third, they're 100% picked up on this yet.
I'm trying to cheat.
Because you and I both know sales don't last forever, but I'd be quick to act before these go back up to full price.
Bro, did it just let me cheat my ass off? Did it let me? Yes, it did.
If you want an idea of what it's like, force yourself to stay awake for 3 nights in a row. During this time, eat the food that makes you feel terrible, and in this sleep-deprived state, exercise until your muscles give out. By the 3rd day, you'll have a small insight into living with this condition. During the years post-stem cell transplant, where I recovered a lot of my health and functionality, I remember getting COVID and thinking it was a walk in the park compared to the first year of my illness. The difference was COVID lasted about a week. The thick of my illness lasted 8 years, and it only was getting worse. I pinned a lot of hope on going to that first visit at the ME clinic. It was a 6-month waiting list, God bless NHS wait times, but I felt excited to be surrounded by people who would understand me, where I could climb out of this nightmare.
My boss says, like, the NHS wait times over there, it's, like, stupid right now. Like, it's, like, almost impossible to be seen because there's such a, I guess, shortage of health professionals in the UK right now. Yikes. That just reminded me of that.
But my hopes were pretty quickly crushed during that first visit. I remember walking into a space that looked like a disused classroom where a bunch of people on chairs were sitting around in circles like Alcoholics Anonymous. I could feel a sense of camaraderie and that we all felt like dog shit. We were all confused and we were all desperately wanting to feel better.
That's what he was saying, that it's just like almost impossible. Like, God forbid you have a serious issue and you need to be seen by a specialist. It's like, good luck. Crazy, crazy.
I believe at the time I was probably the youngest in the group. The group leader waddled in and handed us all a booklet that looked like a school timetable. She then sat us down and told about this new revolutionary technique called pacing, where you write down and track everything that you do in a day, and then you do it less. And then with time, do it more again. The theory being that you have a limited bucket of energy compared to normal people, and you need to protect that and gradually push it. I thought this sounded pretty stupid, so I raised my hand. I told her about the pain in my body. I told her that my muscles twitched constantly. I told her that my bones ached. I told her that my mouth was dry. I couldn't focus. That some days they'd be without mercy and I'd be trapped in bed for the whole day. But the days that I wasn't, I wanted to make the most of it. I wanted to breathe the air and I wanted to live. She told me she understood it's hard, but she didn't really offer more than that. She just pointed at the booklet and told me to follow it. I asked her about things like heavy metal poisoning, about chronically reactivating viruses, about defective mitochondria, about all the things that I read that were linked to chronic fatigue, but she just raised an eyebrow, looked at me like I was a hypochondriac and told me she knew nothing about those things.
Bro.
I remember walking out of the building feeling disheartened and defeated, so much so that my legs buckled as I was walking home. I began to sob uncontrollably on the side of the road. An old woman knelt down to comfort me and asked me what was wrong. I didn't even really know.
Imagine being told, oh, fucking A. Imagine being told, oh, it's all in your head. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh my God.
Know how to explain, so I just told her that I missed my friend. Despite my skepticism, I stuck to the program for at least half a year, and I kept going for my periodic visits to the clinic, and it did jack shit. In fact, I got worse. I was always getting worse. One thing that particularly struck me about the ME support groups was the pure desperation and confusion. With most other conditions, you're given a diagnosis, a prognosis of whether it's going to kill you, and what you can do to manage it or cure it. With ME, you don't get that. You get an indeterminately long sentence to purgatory. You feel worse than you've ever felt in your whole life, and you're given no explanation as to why, and no signpost pointing the way out.
Bro, this is crazy today. This is way worse than it usually is with these goddamn ads. But, so is ME the same as, like, chronic fatigue syndrome? Because my wife's best friend has that. I know that shit ain't no joke. So is ME the same? I know what MS is, but what is ME? Anybody that's been told it's in their head is just, that shit pisses me off so bad. So freaking bad. Because it's like, how can you tell me that? Like, that's the type of shit that really, really pisses me off. Because, like, who the fuck are you to tell me what I am and I am not feeling or dealing with? Like, what the I just, that kind of stuff, I just can't fathom it. Like, how people can sit there and say that type of shit. It really irritates me.
There was no selection bias to the people suffering. Members of the group were anything from esteemed ex-lawyers to single parents to former athletes. One thing I can say, these people were for the most part all extremely driven and collectively mourning their old lives. There's a stigma that because ME's predominant presentation of symptoms is tiredness, that its victims are just being lazy. I can tell you firsthand that me and every single person I've met with genuine ME would rather run 1,000 marathons than have to live another week with the tiredness and the unrelenting fatigue. We were at...
And this is it. I mean, that's even with the issue that I'm going through right now. Like, I've asked so many times, could it be this fucking metal clip that they put in there? I'm like, could this clip be adhered to, like, something? Could it be pinched on a nerve? Could it be all this shit that I've researched myself, right? Like, asking all these questions. Nothing. No response to it. Just downplayed every time. Like, oh, it's a nerve condition. Oh, just treat it with nerve medicine. Well, guess what? The gabapentin and the Lyrica hasn't worked so far, so it can't be a nerve issue. And if it is a nerve issue, like, why can't we just do a scan and figure it out? Why is that so fucking difficult? Especially when insurance will pay. I already know that. It's just crazy to me. This is the type of shit, man. Ay. And so when I go and I do finally get a scan, because it's going to fucking happen, I'm going to beat the drum until the drum can't be beat no more. When I get a scan and I do find out, oh, guess what? It is the fucking clip. Can't wait for that to happen. But to your point, sweetest P, right? I almost called you sweetest princess. But to your point, yes, it's just, ugh. Like, how are you going to tell me, like, Ay.
war with our tiredness, trying desperately to escape it, and some of us would go to extreme lengths to turn ourselves into guinea pigs to try and find ways out. Suicide was pretty common in those online support groups. It was around this time I was swallowed into the music industry. I was out busking on the streets one day and I noticed this sketchy, good-looking Mauritian guy with his arms crossed watching me really intensely, as though he was studying every lyric coming out of my mouth. He approached me and asked me if the songs I was singing were mine. I said they were. A big smile was painted across his face, and he told me he just finished recording Plan B's latest record, which turned out to be The Defamation of Strickland Banks, one of my favourite albums of all time. He was looking for a new project to sink his teeth into, and he asked me if I'd come to London to record. We got into it. The whole time I felt dreadful, but this was a lifelong dream materialising in front of my eyes, so bit by bit, when I could, I'd get the train to London and start chipping away at my first ever album. I didn't really let on how I was feeling during this time because I didn't want to sabotage it. There would be times I'd finish up in the vocal booth after doing the take, excuse myself to go to the toilet, throw up from the dizziness I was experiencing, sometimes with specks of blood, and then I'd go back and pretend that nothing had happened. I'd be sitting around with the whole room spinning and would pretend I was fine. There was only so long that I was able to keep this up. Eric told me it'd be a cool idea for me to start going to industry showcases and start building buzz. Performing live like this was a whole new level of taxing that I wasn't ready for, but I was so ferociously ambitious that I just ploughed through. The usual way it would go is I'd be in the back of Charlie's car, the whole world would be spinning, I'd be trying my best to...
Keep in mind, burning yourself out is not good for chronic illness. It is not good to burn yourself out. And I'm sure he learned that very quickly. And this is what I mean about resilience with Ren. Like, he just nailed it. He's in that studio acting like nothing's going on. Meanwhile, he feels like absolute shit to the point where he's got to excuse himself because the world's fucking spinning around and he's going out and he's throwing up blood. I just can't even imagine it. Like I said, I don't even want to go to work when I've got a, pretty bad cold going on and it feels like something ran me over, let alone the type of stuff that he's going through. My goodness.
Sleeping it all day, parked up outside of whatever venue or pub it was in London, trying to conserve energy for the show. Sometimes I'd cry a little before I performed. My whole body would be burning. Then I'd brush it off and I'd get on stage and I'd perform as best I could. People would come up to me at the end, pat me on the back. I'd smile and pretend to be charismatic. Then I'd get back in the car and I wish I was in bed and have to endure a 3-hour drive back to Bath from London. There was only a few shows where I could keep pretending. I'd usually be trying to disguise the fact that my body was trembling through the fatigue and pain. Eventually I started crying mid-set. It became blindingly obvious to everyone working with me during that time that something was very wrong. I told Eric that I needed to take some time out. My plan was to live at home with my mum for a month maximum, get my energy back, and come and finish the record. That 1 month turned into 2 months, turned into 3 months, turned into 6 months. I'd pushed myself to total burnout. The distance led to me and that angel breaking up, in part because it was difficult to navigate a relationship when you have so much brain fog, and I didn't know what it was well enough to be able to explain it to her at the time. With a loud thud, I'd been jolted out of a Shakespearean storyline, I lost a record deal, and I couldn't get out of bed. My friends from Trick the Fox never really called to check up on me. It felt like the whole world was moving at lightning speed without me. I had this amazing...
Yo, that's kind of crazy. Does that have anything to do with why they broke up? Because that sounds kind of shitty to me. You'd think that your bandmates would at least call and check up on you, see how you're doing. Yikes.
Opportunity right in front of me, and I was chained to the floor. I was alone. I was sick. I wished that my condition would get it over with and kill me, but it wouldn't, and it felt cruel that it wouldn't. It just let me rot in bed. The whole world would continue to turn, and I would rot. In the next episode, I'm going to tell you about a fight with a television and losing my anal virginity to an 80-year-old man. Stay tuned for that.
What the fuck?
Chevy trucks with power you can count on. Capability that...
Not to be funny, but that's a crazy segue. Lose my anal virginity to an 80-year-old man. Chevy trucks. What the fuck? This is why I hate commercials. Yo, what? I was like, is there any more to this video? That's it? Dude, talk about a freaking cliffhanger. I don't know if I want to know about all that necessarily, but talk about a cliffhanger. Yikes. No music at the end of this one, guys? I didn't miss anything? So there is a song at the end. Okay. Give me a second. I was going to say, there's been a song at every single one of these so far. So how? How could there not be one? I think Chevy Trucks really fucked it up. Rhyming. Alright. All right. Aight, then. No song at the end of chapter 6. Okay, but this one does have one. Got it. Okay. Give me uno momento. Uno momento.
She told me she understood it's hard, but she didn't really offer what exists. I've got a problem that I'm pretty sure you can help.
Do do do. All right, guys, we are back. We are back. That really screwed everything up, that stupid ad. Y'all coming in clutch with this YouTube Premium. I can't tell you how excited I am about that because these ads, bruh.
I'm going to tell you about a fight with a television and losing my anal virginity to an 80-year-old man.
Bro, if I get another ad right here, I'm going to lose my shit.
Patterns are composed by a time bomb for an author, like pigs to the slaughter. A symphony of self-doubt sings out, breath starts getting shorter. Running water is the state that I wish to become. Instead, concrete envelops my movement and I'm rendered deaf and dumb, unable to heed the advice of others. Don't tell me things will get better, cause so far things haven't gotten better. I've got the sweater, poster child, bipolar, ADHD, therapist, wet dream. I don't want to talk about my father, I don't want to talk about my dead friend, I don't want to talk about myself. I'm sick of talking about myself. I'm sick of talking about myself and realizing that talking about myself never ever helps. Still, I call for help, cause I really want help. But the pills didn't seem to help, and the therapist didn't seem to help. But still, I want help. I've danced with the devil in hell, I've sat in a prisonless cell, and here I always dwell, in this prison in myself. I do this thing where my mind travels back to the golden age. You know those times where you were carefree and everything was golden? The golden age. You know those times where everything was golden, where you were carefree and everything was golden? The hardest thing I ever had to do was come to terms with the fact that that time never really existed. I've always felt so fucking detached and broken, bruised and mismatched. Find it hard to relax, living under the cracks. Tried to fill in the gaps, lying here on my back. Still, I can't find it. Sense of peace in my mind declined it. Pulse increase and my sweat combines with a feeling so deep I fall inside it. Depression, I hate you, depression. Your constant oppression, respond with aggression. They say depression brings you lessons. Constant stressing conceals blessings. You will grow in broken settings. Fuck those lessons, fuck depression. I've been living in your shadow for so long that I forgot how I can shine. How I can find a refuge in my mind. How am I meant to sit here and unwind? The planets align, I feel like I'm cursed. Feel like I'm cursed to just be here to hurt. Feel like I'm cursed to just be here to bleed with my demons. Been feeling this way since birth. Depression, I hate you. 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 Depression, I hate you.
Man. Shit. For anybody who has dealt with depression, dude, he has described it to a T. Especially when he starts talking about, like, your pulse starts increasing, like, man, that was crazy. He does such a good job. It's crazy. Ay caramba. He is such a good storyteller. He's such a good, like, not even storyteller. Like, he's a good messenger. Let's call him a messenger, because he's not really, I don't want to call him a storyteller, because storytelling would imply that it's not true. I think it's super fucking true, and he's a great messenger of the truth, in my opinion. Honestly. Craziness. Whew. Yikes. Goodness gracious. This is so true. You are absolutely right, Kelly. He really does. Whew. Crazy. Yikes. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I got to go mow the grass. Oof. Oh, that was crazy. I don't want to mow the grass. Ay. That was nuts. Man, Ren left some truth bombs in my brain today. Yikes. That was awesome. 1 through 3 we got down. We got to do 4 through 6 next, and then we'll close it out with 7 and 8. And then, yeah. But I think that's going to do it, guys. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to open it up. Like I said, we'll start it out with Paint It Black by The Big Push. And we'll go from there. I hope to see you guys tonight. And yes. Sonora. Still can't do it. Oh my God. I even tried to pull from the archives. Yes, I am going to have premium by tonight. Do not worry about that. And I'm going to go into the mirror and practice your name at least 100 times so that I can get it by tonight. But appreciate all you guys for taking the time this morning. I had a good time hanging out with you guys. That was a tearjerker. That was heavy stuff, but I am so pumped to keep learning about Ren. I will chat with you guys later tonight if you can make it. If not, hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday. Peace out.